Hey, Dark, what do you have for us?
Oh, I've got the first of the we could call tonight the Gachi night. I've got Gachiakuta.
Yes, sir. And
And
you are doing this right after you also reviewed Togenanki last time, if I
yup,
remember correctly.
yup.
You're
So
going
this is
full
a
in.
yeah, this is another edgy shonen battle series. And yeah,
Hmm.
so um I guess I'll get the stuff out of the way first. So this is from Bones Film. This is a manga original. Bones Film is the spin-off studio that is pretty much like unironically, the we're not doing uh My Hero Academia anymore, so we can do other stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so they're doing this here. They're doing a pretty good job, I would say. And the premise for this, I don't know, let me briefly see. Yeah, this is a pretty good synopsis on Mal, I guess. So the synopsis of this is that living in the slums of a actually no, this is not a good synopsis actually already. Anyway, he basically the way this shows the series world works is that it starts out on in this like pristine white like almost like Victorian but almost like Greco-Roman style buildings environment, like Victorian clothing and stuff like that almost. Um and just very like upper class like people talking to each other and just this pristine white like stone city. Um and then there's a guy like taking notes of stuff and then it kind of shows us in media as our main character Rudo stealing from this city, but stealing garbage, quote unquote. And
Hmm.
it's discarded items from rich people. So what he was stealing, like amongst the things he stole, was like a slightly torn stuffed animal. And so what it seems like it's establishing is that in this part of the city, these people are like very, very what would you call it? They like haphazardly throw stuff away. Like the moment something is damaged, it's like, oh, okay, you know what? I'll get a new one. Um, like not bothering to fix anything or anything like that. Like everything just gets thrown out. So very like wasteful in that way. And Rudo winds up getting attacked by the guards. For some reason, they don't appreciate people stealing garbage. And they chase him back, but he escapes to his side of the quote unquote like city, which is a slum across a massive wall. And it is a basically like a shanty town. You know, everything's made out of like scrap metal, stuff like that. But the people even there seem to have a low regard for what would be considered trash, like anything discarded, right? Or
Hmm.
anything that is damaged, like in a more than I guess like I don't want to say facetious or whatever, like more than just like the facade of it or something, right? Like something that you would have to fix. Doesn't people don't really seem to be too into that, making use of that. It is still considered garbage. Um, and so yeah, so it's just the typical thing of like Rudo gets bullied by other people, by like other kids because they're like, oh, you're like digging through garbage. Um, and long story short, we get the backstory that he's been taken in by his foster father Regto, and his actual father was a I don't remember if he was at least framed for murders, multiple murders. And so what they do here is they throw you off the edge of a cliff after hanging you over it, um, that they call the pit. And so
Is this pit like
I
made in
will
abyss kind of business? What's happening?
we will get there. Long story
Okay,
short,
okay.
because I'm not gonna spoil any of the happenings, how it leads to this. Long story short, at some point, Rudo gets framed for murder. He sees the murderer. He tries to go after the murderer. The murderer knocks him out. He gets framed for murder and thus gets sent to the pit. And he's thrown off the pit. And somehow, some way, he survives the fall. It has a very like strange there's a very strange visual in part of it, and also it's hard to like again, I'm not going to spoil a lot of it, but it's hinting at there is some reason he was able to survive, some deeper reason. And so he wakes up in a massive dumping ground, massive trash heap. And when he wakes up, a bunch of beasts, trash beasts, also wake up, which are giant monsters made out of garbage. Um, Long story short, he gets saved by this dude Engine with like weird slicked back blonde hair. But like at the time he's wearing like a cool gas mask. And Engine uses a very strange tool, an umbrella, to destroy these beasts. This leads to Rudo learning about the Cleaners, which are a group of like basically elite soldiers that Engine's a part of, that go around and destroy trash beasts on the surface. And they use these things. The name escapes me. What are they called? They are So they're the Cleaners. Anyone who can use the tools like the umbrella that Engine has are called givers, and they're called vital instruments. And basically, you come to find out that this is kind of like a story about what do they call it? Is it Sukogami? The thing where it's like if you take care of something for long enough, a spirit comes to inhabit it. And what I'm assuming is trash beast, or if you neglect something for long enough, an evil spirit comes to inhabit it.
Tsukumogami or
Yeah.
Tsukumogami, right? Tsukumogami.
Tsukumogami. Yeah. Okay. So so that's basically what this is all surrounding now, right? Rudo winds up having these gloves that Rito gave him a long time ago. That turns out to be a vital instrument that he can use. That can also let him use other things as vital instruments. So far, he hasn't been able to make much use of his power. It's pretty standard fare, one of those series. But I think the most interesting thing here is the world and the world building. And one of the small details, or not even small details, one of the things that like you haven't even seen yet, like that I think is going to be very interesting, is that it turns out that Rudo rather, was thrown off of something called the Sphere. And he wasn't just thrown off a cliff into a pit. The city that he was in was a massive, supposedly floating city that's moving all along the planet. And the planet now is a wasteland of garbage, basically. Think of it almost like, it's not like as much of a shithole. Think of it like almost like Fallout style wasteland, where there are definitely areas that are like awful, obviously. But there are like safer zones, and then there are cities where people still have, they have amenities, they have food, water, shelter, stuff like that. But at the same time, they're still defending themselves from like trash beasts because of the whole planet being polluted. And yeah, that leads to a lot of really cool environments, a lot of really cool designs for characters, being like Wastelander type aesthetics to it. And yeah, it's really nice. I think a good vibe way to describe it too would be almost like something like God Eater in some aspects as well.
Yeah, because I was actually interested in the, I want to say, the atmosphere, the vibe, because this could go, if just this from you describing it, it could go one of two ways, right? One would be a little bit more like dystopian, cyberpunk-ish kind of that sort of vibe, right? Um and the, or except maybe without the technology, but a little bit more of just like the grunge kind of like, oh, we're just the cleaners in the alleyways kind of stuff. And then the other is, again,
in my opinion, it's very reminiscent of something like like a Battle Angel Alita, where you have like the elites at the top,
Mm,
like the elites
hmm
are in
So it
their
is a
sort
little bit
of
more dystopian in a sense, though,
yeah,
right?
their elites are sort of in their
Okay.
shining capital, and then you have like
Okay.
the rest of the world is kind of just like a shithole, right?
Yeah.
So
But it's
Yeah,
like,
it's just
is
very
the
interesting. It
story
is very
kind of
interesting
similar
that
in
the
structure,
elite's
where it's
capital
like
is
they're just
split in
kind of,
half too.
yeah,
oh, okay.
So well, because like the slums he was in
Is the
was not
structure?
in the
Yeah,
floating
is
city,
structure more focused on the
or was
slums,
in the floating city.
or is it?
No. So that's what I'm saying. Like after he gets
there's
thrown
like
off in the first
tiers,
episode,
yeah,
like
Hmm.
he's not even in the city. Like you don't even see the city. You don't know where it is.
yeah,
We haven't seen a shot of it yet from like the ground
Oh,
up.
okay.
So we don't even know what it
I
looks like yet from the outside. And I'm just gonna say
see.
there is a character that even said at one point to him in a very like cryptic manner, like, "Oh, you're a spherite. How did you survive crossing the barrier?" So like it
Mm-hmm.
seems like there's also some sort of like weird barrier that surrounds the city too. Um the floating city. And yeah, it seems like it's like a tiered society like Nero was saying where it's like the slums are like people whose I guess families have been disgraced, but they personally haven't been thrown off or disgraced enough to, get thrown off into the pit. Um, or it's just layered in the sense of like, yeah, if you're in the high society, then you get kicked down to the low society, and then if you fuck up in the lower society, then they throw you off basically. Um,
Hmm.
And so yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff. I think at some point, we might find out that Rudo's father isn't even dead. I would imagine that'll be something that happens as like trying to find answers about what the sphere even is, and how to get back
Hmm.
to it. Because Rudo's initial goal is to get revenge on the sphere, like everyone in it, everyone in the slums, everyone in the main city, right? Um, but what's obviously like slowly happening is he's like starting to not want to be a burden to the people around him and wants to actually like become part of the cleaners.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's kind of where the story is without getting into like too many like details of why you should watch it. The cleaner setup is also very fun too because there are unpowered people as well that aren't givers that are like play a support role.
Hmm.
And there's some fun dynamic with some of the characters there too. But
And
yeah, I
so a
think
big part of this is also the fact that it's a little bit less of like, I mean, there's obviously the thorough line or the undercurrent is that the main protagonist is finding a little bit more about this world, but there's a lot more of like that sort of not deuteragonist necessarily, but there's a lot more screen time with the other characters, somewhat similar to something like a Fire Force, right?
right, yes, yeah, I guess in some ways too, it is like kind of similar to Fire Force and like other aspects too, because there are like, you have basically the cleaners are the crew. They have like their own
Hmm.
headquarters, and they are the main crew of like your distinct characters. Like we have Rudo, obviously we have Engine with his umbrella. We've seen Zonka fight as well. He has a staff. And Rio, who has a pair of scissors that like grows massively. Um,
Hmm.
and all the characters have been very, very fun so far. Their fights have been really good.
Right.
I think one of the highlights of this series is the audio visuals, like for sure. Um,
Yeah,
the
because it's Bones, right? This is
Yeah,
Bones.
it's Bones film, so it's the non My
Yes,
Hero
sir.
Academia
And
studio.
they're also putting their in-house 3D team into work, if as far as I know, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they all, yeah, the main people running 3D is their like own in-house team as well. So it's a
yeah,
very
and
interesting kind of
their
thing.
blending is god tier. Like this is so what I
No,
was saying
good
earlier
to
was
hear.
like
Good to hear.
much this series in some ways is kind of like the sort of perfect goal of what um Togananki is doing, right? Where you have people, it's
Mm-hmm.
shonen, it's almost like shonen slot basically, and you have all these people with different powers, but you do have enough of a core underlying aesthetic and story that's holding it together, and on top of that, you have like extremely good audio visuals. Um the I would say it's the directing is good. There are a lot of really good shots. There's a lot of really fun like finishers and a lot of really fun like, you know, them like going full power scenes, things like that. I think one of the highlights is the music in this series though. This has a very fun like rap and hip hop style beats in a lot of this. Which it
Mhm.
kind of really goes with a lot of like the aesthetics in it too.
So it's a little bit more
Um,
like, yeah, it's a little bit more just like based upon, yeah, like hip hop actually be I would say something like a does it have like a lot of electronic kind of that sort of like EDM kind of stuff, or something like One Punch Man, or is it like actual
no,
just
it's
like
a lot
vocal
more
tone
like
levels?
again like hip hop instrumentals of like those types of like bass beats and like obviously there are synth beats, but it's not like electronic. It is very like hip hop beat type music. Um,
Hmm.
which has been very fun. Yeah, I mean going through the music right now, it's Taku Iwasaki who did the original music for Roni Kenshin OVA, Gurren Lagann, and now for Bones he's been doing like, you know, all the Bungo Stray Dogs music. Um yeah, just a shit ton of music for that Mononoke movies. Um, yeah, it looks like all the music for Kenshin. So he's been around for, you know, a very, very long time. Um, so yeah, like obviously, you know, you're in for some very, 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 very good soundtrack here. Um, but on top of that, and on top of its audio visuals, this also has a really, really good, now the visuals for the opening is like, I mean, it's like kind of weird, but it's kind of like weird ass, like, you
What do you
know,
mean by weird?
like gross stuff, you know, like Regto exploding into trash, like viscerally and like
Oh,
kind of
okay, okay,
gory
I
and
see, I
stuff.
see, I see.
But like it's
I
a
see.
hard opening to explain in some of that way.
Mm,
But the highlight for me is the song "Hugs" by the band Pale Dusk, which is like
mm.
a insane metalcore track with awesome vocals. Like this opening, I'm so glad happened because this made me listen to this band, and this band is really great because they are not like a they're not like a band where they'll do like a metalcore thing. Like, you know, you'd see like an opening where you might get like some sort of like screamy lyrics and stuff like that, and then it goes back to it. It's like, no, this is very much a metalcore band where they are doing like insane shit with their vocals, like shredding their vocal cords consistently, like
Like new
nonstop. Like,
metal, like Mongol rock, like death metal rock band kind of
yeah, it's
vibes, right?
very, yeah, it's
It's
like
what you're saying.
full metalcore
Yeah.
shit. Um,
Okay.
and some of their other tracks are insane, like absolutely insane with where the instrumentals go for it. Um,
Hmm.
and that's awesome. And then the ED is a very like weird, sketchy, um, very like simple ish visuals, accompanied by a very, very fun track, or not fun, but very good track by Dust Cell. And it's very
Hmm.
like moody. And that's very good tonally as well. Um, and yeah, I don't even really know what more to say about this series. Like aesthetically, it's killer. The character designs are awesome. I think the character designs are going to be like a
The
really,
story can like
really
hold it
big
together is the
highlight.
most important part, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, and the story, yeah, the story and all the enemies and stuff is really keeping things together. Yeah, like there
mhm.
is a yeah, and it's like very edgy, obviously, like very like edgy character designs. Like obviously it's like Recto is like albino, or not Recto, Rudo is like albino with his, that's a really really scuffed picture. But yeah, so he's like, white hair, red eyes, like eye bags, stuff like that. I guess also of note, they are not afraid to get like this series does have very silly moments to it. And there's a lot of really fun expressions that very exaggerated expressions that the characters make. Because the style of this series is like very distinct. And in fact, let me double check with its source who the artist is of that, just in case they are like a more notable author. Okay, so that's very funny. So this is an author who I believe, yeah, this seems like yeah. Yeah, so this author, one woman, so based woman enjoying representation here. They've only done she's only done two other one shots in the past year. This was her first like full series, and that's killer. And but the funniest thing is one of the most known things for Mal for her is opens with Urana is a fan of Soul Eater.
Oh my
Like,
god.
okay. Yeah, and prior to Gachiakuta serialization, um worked as an assistant under Ukubo for his last work, Fire Force, before he called her his
Oh, really?
successor. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Jesus Christ, his successor?
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
so it
Oh
makes
my
a
god.
whole lot of fucking sense as to what this series is like and why this series is like this.
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean it's killer. As an adaptation, like this is obviously like since it's Bones, like this is very, very faithful. Seeing some of this art though, might check out the manga. I don't know if I'll like read ahead, but I mean the art itself is really killer.
The manga's art is a
So
lot more distinct. I mean, the manga's art is like
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
one
what I
of those
mean. The manga's
styles that
arc is like insane. Like
it's one of those styles that's like it's effectively impossible to fucking actually put into an
yeah,
anime
there's
without
no
it being
way.
like a Hell's situation or like a
Mhm.
fucking Red Line or
It
something
would have to be like
where
movie level to
yeah,
Yeah,
have
it
yeah.
would have to
Like
be
it would have to
like
have
for it to look like the manga and be animated, it would basically have to be like prime Madhouse material.
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah,
even
yeah.
the cover is like the cover
That
illustrations are
Madhouse
like
unfortunately
insane.
does not exist anymore. So
Yeah.
you know,
But they're doing a really good job. The like and again, like I said, like these character designs are really fucking good. I love all of them significantly. Um and yeah, it's just a really fun, edgy, like shonen series right now. That is in the lieu of like a Fire Force or something like that, which again, like we said, makes a hell of a lot of sense now. And yeah, yeah, no. So I would highly recommend this. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else super duper worth covering. Yeah, I mean, along with what I was saying before, like with the world building and stuff, like the environments are also really awesome too, right? Because you have trash wastelands, you have like, wasteland buildings and stuff like that. But since it wasn't like, since it's not like everything was turned to dust or something, like, there are scenes where they're going through like a desolate like old mall and stuff like that. And it's very, very cool.
Mm.
Um
Yeah, it's like
and
it's
it's
some
not like I feel like this theme, like this is not something I've seen, right? Like garbage, like in this way. Like the
Mhm.
use of trash in this way. I feel like I've not seen
Well, it's
in
also
this
a
manner.
focus in terms of like there's so much focus on how do I say this? It sounds kind of stupid, but like the objects in the world, whereas it's like in a lot of cyberpunk dystopia kind of thing, it's just like, yeah, they're running down alleys and it's dirty and there's like a trash can and like that's about it. And most of it's kind of how do I say this? Seen as just again like kind of people fighting or like running down alleyways. But I feel like with probably Gachiakuta, there's a little bit more focus on developing the quote unquote dirtiness of that world, right? It's like
Yeah, it's like the giant. Yeah, it's like some things you can kind of make out what they're made out of, but now like one of the lore things that's happening is that they're finding trash. They found a trash beast that had a vital instrument in it that was powering it basically.
Mhm.
And this is a minor spoiler overall, realistically, but when that trash beast, it had a box cutter in it. And so thematically, like at one point it enrages and has like these giant metal like it's not really like it wasn't really like a box cutter really because it wasn't that sharp. It wasn't really sharp, but it started like using it to like slam and create shockwaves. These two like massive metal it almost looks segmented like a box cutter, like shooting out of its like upper and lower jaw when it enraged.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff like that too, where it's like these beasts being empowered by like common items basically as well now, on top of other people like Rio using scissors, you know, a giant, and then that they turn giant. Like mundane items being turned into that, and like the umbrella um, is really cool. And seeing weapons like
Mhm.
that.
Right,
Um,
right.
and yeah, like I said, its aesthetics are killer. Its world is really good. I haven't really seen much like it, um, in that sense, and I hope to see more. You know, I think this is gonna maintain being really solid throughout.
Do you think it has you think it's in contention for anime of the season slash anime of the year? Is my question.
For me personally, probably not. Um,
Okay.
but I don't know. It's tough, right? Because I think these are some. I think this in some of the shots and like the style changes and the like more comedic expressions and stuff. I think that is really charming and that has really like boosted it for me. But as far as
Mhm.
like anime of the year goes, I mean it might be. I mean it might wind up being a contender. Season, I think it very well could be for me. It just kind of
Mhm.
depends. I kind of have to see more stuff still, right? Like,
Right.
but this is definitely going to be one of the runners for season for me easily. For year though, I'll have to go back and like recheck. Because we've
Right,
definitely had a
right,
lot of strong shit this year. Um, and yeah, I don't know.
right.
I don't know. I mean, for
Okay.
me right now, I feel like I'd have to double check again, but you know, spoiler alert for end of the year, it's gonna be very hard to dethrone Sakamoto Days for me.
Yeah, I mean, Sakamoto Days is again, it got its accolade, it got its flowers for a reason. So yeah, um, but yeah, at least we have something solid to watch. Fallbacks, I want to call them for this season. So I guess any last words on the series, and again, probably your Mal rating on it.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, yeah, if you like that's what I could say to summarize too. If you like Bone series, if you like something like Bungo Stray Dogs 2 as well, like this has sort of that charm to it as well with like how the characters behave and their distinct nature, and also there being quite a lot of like edgy male characters in it too.
Hmm.
You know, but yeah, like everything we went over, it's great. I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend you check it out regardless, which is why I would still probably put this at. I would probably put this at like an 8.5 to a 9. Um,
Okay, so
it's
nine.
sitting at an
Okay.
8 on Mall right now, but I would
Mhm.
say if this maintains its strength throughout, yeah, I would say this is probably going to be like a 9 for me. Again, like my rating goes, like it's not, at least so far, it hasn't had any shots that are like, or it's not doing anything that's like revolutionary,
Hmm.
or like through like years and years to come, but it's so good to where I'm like, yeah, no, everyone should check this out because the music's killer, the visuals are killer, the opening is awesome, the band that from the opening is awesome, the ED is really good. And yeah, the story's fun, the characters are fun, and like I said, the audio visuals are amazing. So yeah. And also check out the manga too, while you're at it.
Yeah, for sure. Check out the manga. I mean, obviously, again, there's a reason why the fire. If the Fire Forest guy is like, yeah, you are good enough to like be my successor.
Yeah, this is my
That's not a
successor.
joke.
Yeah. And I mean like, and
Yeah,
again, like watching this now too, it's like, yeah, all right. Especially I will say
yeah, I'll
too.
give it up. Yeah,
I will say too, especially with seeing the recent season of Fire Force 2 and what that gets up to, I'm also now realizing, oh yeah, this like cryptic barrier shit and the visuals they use for that, I'm like, this is making a lot of sense. This is
okay,
kind of all coming
yeah.
together as the
Fire
this really
Force,
is
yeah,
his
the Fire Force
successor.
thing was like, yeah, closer than I expected. The
Yeah.
reference, but okay, pretty good. I'm glad that it turned out at least. I mean, obviously, Togenaki has its own value, but I'm glad that Gachiakuta is like a leap even above that, and just what is a really solid pick for the season. But
Yeah. This is
yeah,
to
yeah,
compare it, I will say, just to end it, to compare it to Togenagi, this is kind of like the next stage. The final, like sort of like
yeah,
the final
the
stage
near
of
complete
Togenagi.
form. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where it's like this is kind of everything you would want from that type
yeah,
of
exactly.
series.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thank you very much, Dark. Again, this is Gachiakuta, and I believe this is a manga original. This is the first work actually done by Uranake, who both wrote and made illustrated the manga. Was good enough to solid, good enough to become a great anime adaptation done by none other than Bones, also bringing in their in-house 3D studio, and they did a great job on it, and the source material is good as well. So again, if you'd like that sort of grungy, dystopian action, but plus, check it out. You have very little to lose if you like this sort of genre. Obviously, also check out the manga as well.